G'day Internet, welcome back to another video. So I go out semi-regularly to a local recycling centre here in town. It's called the Green Shed, so if you ever hear me refer to a place called the Green Shed, it's a local recycling place. And I always have a bit of a poke around, you never know what you're going to find in these kind of places. And if there's something of interest, and because generally stuff doesn't cost that much there, I'll pick it up purely out of curiosity. And so the other day I was out there and I did just that. This here is a Microgenius IQ-1000. So you're probably thinking, what in God's name is that? Well, like a lot of consoles that came out of Southeast Asia / Asia during the late 80s and 90s, it's a Famiclone. So it's a clone of the Nintendo Famicom, or known to the rest of us as the Nintendo Entertainment System. Before I spotted it online because I keep a Facebook page, and I went, oh, that's a bit odd, and I did a little bit of research. Now I've got some notes here. So Microgenius as a brand was originally owned by TXC Corporation out of Taiwan, and that's where this is actually made. This particular unit and the other ones were sold in, let me read my notes, places like the Middle East, Southeast Asia, South America, Eastern Europe, and South Africa, pretty much anywhere in the world that Nintendo didn't have an official presence, because obviously, I mean, the legalities of these kind of consoles are a bit dubious, and there's patent infringements and all that kind of stuff. Interestingly, this particular console was sold in Russia under the Dendy brand. Now, there were lots of different consoles and computers sold under that brand in Russia, so it was available there under the name Dendy. And it was also spotted in North Korean children's camps as late as 2008. So there's a little bit of history. So what we get is, we get the console. Now, none of this has been cleaned yet. That's actually going to be part of this video. We get the actual console, which looks like this. We've got power, reset, and eject. We've got joystick 1, joystick 2, RF power, and composite. And then, interestingly, at the front, this little green section just here, that's an infrared receiver. And of the two controllers that you get, one of them is wireless, which is actually kind of cool. This one's got turbo on-off switches on it, and I believe it allows you to set if this is the first player or the second player. A couple of fire buttons, start, select, and a D-pad. All this stuff's pretty grey. So then you've got your normal wide control pad, which uses a DB15 plug. Interesting thing about this is it's actually got a headphone jack at the bottom, so you can actually plug this into the console, then headphones into here, and play kind of in silence, I guess, so you don't, you haven't got the TV blaring or whatever. It also comes with a light gun, and being a Famiclone, yes, you can play Duck Hunt. And it's modelled, I think, almost identically after the Nintendo Zapper, taking a quick look at it. I have powered it up and I've given this a very quick test, so I do know it actually works. And then, now, I don't know if this is a replacement or because this has somehow made it to Australia. It does come with a very old Arlec 9-volt 600 milliamp power plug. Now, these have been around for donkey's years and they still seem to crop up here in Australia. And I don't like them. I'll use this for now, and there's three reasons I don't like them. One is, it always feels like there's something loose inside. That just doesn't kind of give me too much confidence. The wire is always kind of a stiff, cheap thing, and there's never any strain relief on the back, which always just, I don't know, I just don't like it. This one came with 4 cartridges. We've got Batman meets Radioactive Man. We'll take a look at all these. One that's marked Street Fighter 2. Street Fighter 2 was never around on the Nintendo, was it? I'll have to look that up. Jurassic Park, and a 1201 Special. Now, if you look at these cartridges, they are Famicom cartridges, as in like the Japanese cartridges. So if we just give me half a second. So if we compare it to a normal Nintendo Entertainment System cartridge, it's all different at the bottom. They don't fit, yada yada. So you can't use normal NES cartridges. So they use Famiclone cartridges from Japan. So let's start by, what do I want to do first? I think we're going to start by pulling it to pieces and giving it a thorough clean. So we'll go from there. So this is the actual console. At this angle you might be able to see kind of, you know, how brown and dirty this is, but it's nothing we can't fix. The gloss area here is pretty scratched, so that might get hit with some plastics or some kind of polish. Hopefully we won't have to get to the point of sanding and repolishing. I don't think it really warrants going that far. So 1, 2, 3, 4 on the screws at the bottom. What are the chances there's a screw under here? We'll find out in a minute. Right. Oh, here's an idea. My wife just got me some little containers specifically for putting screws in for projects as I do them. Well, that. Thank you, Jess. First screw in the container. Okay. Two, three, four. Now, what are the chances there's got to be more screws? Hang on a minute. Now it says on the back, do not disassemble or attempt to repair your MGS components, avoiding so voids all warranties. Damn. That's interesting, and I actually found this. The RF receiver, transmitter in this uses channel 11. Most things are usually either 1, 2, 3 or 4. Anyway. Lift that up. Alright, that's the top case. So what do we get inside? We have RF modulator, assuming that's a voltage regulator of some description. There's our composite out, power in, channel select for the RF. And then here we have, what do we got? A couple of 74 series, a Fly 047, a UMC 6516, which I'm guessing is a 6502 derivative, Toshiba, something from ST, another 74LS, and these two chips here, which actually seem to be made by MG. That's interesting, because MG is actually the brand. It mentions MG on the bottom, even though, MG, Microgenius, of course. Duh. Microgenius. So these are Microgenius branded chips, a 9247A and a 9247. Okay. MGP 502 and MGP 501. Interesting. Okay, now that ribbon cable is soldered together, of course, just to make life easier. So let's remove one, two. That should loosen up that. And I'm going to switch screwdrivers. You. Now, what are the chances that the two screws here are actually holding it down? Pretty good, I think. Okay, so that's out, and that's out. Okay. Whoop. Oh, there's the spring. Can you remind me later to put the spring back in? Thanks. So, these There's your two ports. This actually, I'm not seeing like any horrible corrosion or anything like that. I think this might just go for a trip to the air compressor out in the garage. There's a little IR receiver. So that's that. Put you carefully to one side. I'll give that a clean with some Windex. That can go straight into the kitchen sink. Let's pop out these buttons just so we can clean them and in around them. So that's two springs, don't want to lose those. Now, do I want to just scrub this as is or pull the eject mechanism apart? What are the chances if I pull this apart I'm not going to get it back together? Well, there's only one way to find out, isn't it? Righto. So we've got a screw each side of the main slot. Kind of slides out. That's the bit that's going to be fun to get to line back up again. And then this bit, which is hinged here with one, two, and its little bracket, three. And in theory, yep, that just comes out. Yeah, I think I'm glad I pulled that apart. Does that pop out? I don't want to break it. Right. So all that can go in the sink and be scrubbed with some warm soapy water. Now, one bit of almost all consoles, regardless of what condition they show up in, is I always clean the control pads, because the end usually is a great home for human slime. So I think I'm going to do the two control pads as well. I don't think the light gun looks pretty clean. I might just give it a wipe over with some Windex wipes, but let's go with the first controller. And we can also see what's in these controllers, seeing as they also do audio as well, which I think is interesting. Alright, that's all the screws. Alright, well, nothing popped out at me. It's always good. Pop out that strain relief, and don't think there's going to be anything all that exciting back here. No, there isn't. Okay, so we have our usual carbon-backed rubber membrane. That can be washed. There's our board and our cord. D-pad and, oh, hang on. I don't want to lose any of these. These are the little carbon inserts that go in behind the buttons. So let's carefully remove those. Can someone remind me later that it's red at the top and then blue at the bottom? Thanks. There's our buttons. Cool. All right. More to be washed. That will just get wiped over with some isopropyl alcohol and a paper towel. More to go into the wash. And our wireless controller. Oh, this takes batteries. Oh, wait a minute. Right. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to guess that East Power probably isn't the world's most renowned battery maker to begin with, and these have leaked, and we have corrosion. It's not too bad. I don't know if you can see in there, but that's probably the worst one just there, that positive terminal. So that should make life fun to depends how those terminals are actually connected to the board inside, if I'm going to have to desolder them or not. Don't expect this to have much more in it than the other gamepad. It'll be pretty much the same, but with the IR transmitter, but not the audio connection. Okay, let's try and take it apart from the top. Okay, top cover. These are the little switches with a little white bit. Ugh. Make that somewhat orange bit that sit in there. That should be fun to put back together. We have 1, 2, and their carbon inserts. Oops. There and there. A couple of black ones. D-pad, its membrane, and what have we got? Oh, okay, so that just came straight out. There's its IR transmission window. Screw. So is that going to pop out of here? I would normally say let me put my glasses on, but I've already got my glasses on. Okay, so that's got the majority of the corrosion on it. That's actually got no corrosion on it. So this bit here will go for a swim in some vinegar. I'll put that in with the screws for now. This bit's looking fine. Okay, so that's that. Right, so screws, odds and ends, buttons and D-pad membranes, which I think I'll do them just with some Windex wipes so they're not going to the sink. Ugh, don't want to lose them. Gamepad case, various bits of console, and I think it's time to give all of this a thorough scrubbing. Right, with all that sitting by the sink and slowly drying, well actually rapidly drying because it's quite warm here today, let's start by taking this corroded battery terminal and putting it into some vinegar. There we go. I'm going to put a lid on it so I don't knock it flying, or when I do knock it flying it doesn't spill everywhere. I was having a think about this and it's really quite clean. I'm going to just simply take my brush and there's not much really to do. I mean, they're a bit dusty inside, a bit more scratched than anything else. There's not much really to do on that. The two boards, again, they're pretty clean. I might clean up the terminals with some alcohol and a paper towel. There's really not much coming off. There's not much really to do with those. These, even they're pretty good. This is probably overkill, but just give them a bit of a wipe. And the other one, well, the reverse side of this is pretty grotty. What's the reverse side of that like? Okay, we do have, didn't lose any. All these little guys. Little carbon pads from the buttons. Actually, let's do it this way. Okay, that's that. What else have we got? These. Right, let's start with some Windex wipes, which I think I have a few left of. This one's got a few scratches on it, but it's really not worth trying to polish them out, I don't think. It's those. While I've got this wipe out, let's just give this a wipe over, I think, because all in all, this is, I don't think this has actually had much use, so there's one little mark there I don't think is going to come off, but that's okay. Paper towel. Better than it was. What's that? Yeah, it's not coming off. So that's better than it was, and that's kind of it. We'll let this soak for a little bit longer, and I'll probably hit that with a toothbrush or something similar. And then I think it's time to put it all back together. We now have everything back from drying in the glorious Australian sun. I think I want to just bugger all these bits off for now, and I want to take a look at this. It's okay. I mean, it's obviously a lot cleaner, but I think what I'm going to do is get some paper towel and some plastics, and I'm going to have a go at this gloss section here. I'm not sure if this will really make a difference, but I think it's worth having a go. Wax on, wax off. Well, it's blacker. Still just a scratch though, but now I have to do the rest of it, because otherwise it's going to look funny. Okay, that's better. That white writing that's rubbed away is going to irritate me. No, that's going too far. Leave it alone. No need to do that whatsoever. Damn it.
Here we go.
So with everything cleaned up and looking a lot fresher than it did, including the little writing on the top case, I think we'll leave it there for now. This restoration is taking a little bit more time than normal. I wanted to do this video more of a as I go kind of thing, and I guess give people an idea of maybe how I work and my thought processes as I do it. So it is taking a bit longer. So join me in part 2 where we start putting the whole thing back together, and thanks for watching.